Guys, how's everybody doing? Continuing the journey of reviewing the Evil Dead franchise. Since I reviewed the Evil Dead, here are my thoughts on Evil Dead 2. Before I begin, this is probably the fan favorite of the series. Almost every time who I ask who has ever watched this franchise, when I ask them, "Hey, what's your favorite Evil Dead movie?" They always say Evil Dead 2. I also get Army of Darkness, hell, even sometimes a remake, but I hardly hear the original for some reason. But this is, in fact, probably my favorite. I grew up watching this movie. I have fond memories where, before my papa sadly passed away, rest in peace, when we had this movie store called Hastings, which sadly fucking closed because of these assholes in Butte decided to close it, which was the worst thing my town ever did. But anyways, there was always this toy section, and since I was a small, tiny little child, I saw these toys, and they were Evil Dead 2 toys, where you got the Henrietta or it's just Henrietta, it's just like that's a regular Deadeye, and then you got like the little head that you could take off the head and then put it on, but I didn't know you could do that, and then it was just like a little worm thing. I absolutely loved it. My papa, I don't know if he was a big horror movie fan, but I do know that he at least enjoyed them. He had Evil Dead 2 on a DVD. Me and him watched it. This was kind of my introduction to the series, but I hardly knew what the fuck was going on in this movie at this point. And I also just don't remember much of it, but yeah, I grew up watching this movie. This kind of introduced me to the horror subgenre because I got these toys that I bought at Hastings and I fucking lost them. Can you believe it? I'm still kicking myself in the ass every single day for that. Starting off with my positives on Evil Dead 2 is that I think they utilized the character of Ashmore in this. Now, if you watched my review on the Evil Dead, you can see that I said that the characters in in the first movie weren't very memorable. None of them were had much really to do. Since they had a low budget, they couldn't do much. But and also to me, who Ash, who is the biggest character of this franchise and who the person that kind of made this franchise happen, he felt like an afterthought, and he felt like he was just shoved in there because Bruce Campbell wanted to make this movie with Sam Raimi. But with a bigger, way bigger budget, actually, on this movie, they were able to do more, which I really like, and so they kind of made Ash this character as we know and kind of hate, but we can't help but love him. But I think they just utilize this character a lot more. We get to know him more. We get to see him on screen more. It becomes the main focus on this movie. In the opening, it's just him and his girlfriend, which is kind of a remake of the original, which I will get to. And then after his girlfriend dies, he is just the main character throughout the entire movie. After his girlfriend dies, it's just all about him throughout the rest of the movie. So the other characters show up. But anyways, yeah, I feel that they utilize this character a lot more better. Speaking of Ash, I like the whole cinematography shot, which I forgot to talk about in the first movie, god damn it, is where in these movies the camera kind of goes up and down and through the woods, and it's kind of showing you perspective of the evil moving through the woods, and it kind of gives you an idea what you're seeing. All these scenes where the camera is just kind of moving all practically, and you're sitting there like, whoa, what's going on here? That is the evil moving through the woods. Oh god, what just fuck just happened there? Oh, excuse me. There's a part where the evil is chasing Ash, where it starts at the bridge. You sees the evil, which I don't know what that looks like. He gets in his car, backs away. He turns around and slowly starts driving to the cabin, but crashes. But the evil chases him through the woods, into the cabin, through the crawl spaces, and through the entire house until it gets into the basement. That entire scene from beginning to end is so enjoyable and suspenseful that I can't help but love it. Every time I rewatch this movie, I know it's gonna happen, but I can't help but just grab my seat and just freak out like, oh no, is he gonna get away? But I know he's gonna get away. But the point is that it makes it more suspenseful and makes you wonder like, is Ash gonna get out of this? Is he gonna get possessed? Like again? He did get possessed in this movie. Like, is he gonna get possessed again? Are they gonna kill him? Is he gonna get away? Like, yeah, he gets away in the basement. I feel that this movie kind of fixed a lot of issues for me that I had in the original. Like I said, the characters, they fixed Ash and they fixed a bunch of characters that I can't help but like. get to that. And I also fixed the stop motion animation where there's a part where Henrietta's head grows and becomes like a long neck and a face, which I already talked about. I like every single thing, pretty much everything I had bad to say on the original, which I didn't have much. They fixed it here. Maybe that had to do with the bigger budget, and this also movie just looks a lot better too. Where in the original, when even when you watch it on 4K, it doesn't look great. It's kind of still blurry because of the cameras that they used for their time. But here, with the bigger budget, they were able to get better cameras and special effects too. Where even like this movie's not as gory as the first movie, but I do feel that it is as good in this one because they had a bigger budget to fix some of that. In the original, it kind of went over the top way, which I kind of like, but it's not as messy in this one. They kind of cleaned that up again here, too. Pretty much everything I had bad to say on the original, it's fixed here. Speaking of which, I think they also fixed the Deadites, like, especially with the makeup. Like, the makeup, it just kind of looks like they just kind of put, like, this weird fake mask on them and just, like, okay, now just do stuff and try not to get the stuff to fall off so we can get the shot. In this one, they got damn good makeup for him, and I feel the Deadites look better. They're also more mean, and they're also just more cruel. Like, God, Andrietta. I'm gonna call her that because I forgot her name. God, I'm having a hard time with names today. Where she's, I feel that's probably the most popular Deadeye in this movie. Where I like the, or she also, I find it interesting that Henrietta is played by Ted Raimi, Sam Raimi's brother, who directed all these movies, the original three. I like the part where she's kind of like going, she's locked in the basement and she's going up and down with the basement door and going, Dead by dawn, dead by dawn, dead by dawn. It's goofy, but it's also kind of scary. I feel they did like a pretty good blend of goofy and serious horror, where that's what they were trying to do. Because one of the writers, I forget his name, but he's the childhood friend of Sam Raimi. What he said is, what he thought what would work with this franchise is that if they went to more of a silly version of this. And then Sam Raimi agreed to that, but he also wanted to keep some more horror elements into that. So what they agreed, they add some goofy stuff in here every now and then, but they also try to keep it serious. To me, it works in both ways where you get serious horror for people who are here to see a horror movie. Also, there's some things here if you want to go to the theater and have a fun time and laugh a bunch. That movie has that all here, and I'm pretty sure almost every slapstick comedy that they try to do. Got a little laugh out of me. I said I didn't really care for the characters in the original, but I do kind of like these new characters, especially the zoologist, the girl. But I don't really know much about the boyfriend, husband. Who? Let's just say the boyfriend. We don't get much of him. He kind of shows up. He's like, hey, I couldn't get a hold of your father, and then show up, and then he helps knock out Ash, and then he's possessed, and then he dies. That's all he does. But I kind of like Bobby Joe. She doesn't have much to do, but what she has to do, she's interesting. I also kind of like her husband. He's supposed to be that character where you absolutely fucking hate him. You don't want, you just want to watch him die. He's fun. I can enjoy him. I understand why people hate him, but I can enjoy him where he's just a person that just wants to get his wife back. But he doesn't know he's dead, and people are trying to talk him out of it. He's like, dude, if you do this, you're fucked. But he doesn't want to listen. He's like, just points a gun at them, like, now move. I already mentioned this. I think the effects in this movie are pretty good too, where there's like the effects, like with the Deadites, or where they fix things with that better makeup and better effects with like just stop motion animation, which I like to see where the girl, like Ash's girlfriend, was doing like the little ballerina stuff, like the little stop motion animation there, and also with the gore, where there was a part where Henrietta, I kind of forgot her name, Henrietta, drags that guy under, it drags him under the basement and gets like half of his body. It's like just up to his legs where you can only kind of see his stomach and his legs. But then like a geyser of blood splashes on that geologist, and she's just covered in blood after that, and the whole cabin's just splashed with blood. And it's a very silly scene, but it's pretty damn cool practical effects and just effects in general. I wouldn't say this is much of a negative, but it's more of a nitpick, and that's the opening where it's just kind of the first 12, 15 minutes maybe is just the remake of the original within 12 minutes. Now, The reason it's not a huge negative for me is because I know the story on why they did that. They didn't want to do that for the meta horror. They didn't want to do that for really anything. They did that is because New Line Cinema would not let Sam Raimi or the rest of the crew use footage from the original movie to kind of give you like a previously on thing. So they were not allowed to do that. So their options were just to refilm the original, but instead of five characters, they trimmed it down to Ash and his new girlfriend, which I don't absolutely hate, but every time I watch it, I'm like, God, this is kind of weird to watch, but at the same time, I remember that New Line Cinema would not let them use the footage from the original movie, which I think is really stupid. All in all, guys, other than that, I have no issues with this movie. This is a damn good movie. It's a damn good time to watch with friends if you want to. It's just a nice horror film to watch, and it is one of my favorites, and I will contend that this is still probably my favorite Evil Dead movie. This is a movie I feel that you need to watch if you are a horror fan or just a fan of comedy horror, and this is a movie where you definitely go out and buy it. What do you guys think of Evil Dead 2? Are you like me and this is your favorite, or are you like some people and think that this is, and you say that this is your least favorite, or is it just right in the middle for you? Let me know in the comments below and we will talk about it. If you like this video, like it. If you loved it, subscribe and hit the bell notification so you will get notified for my latest videos. But until my next video, take care.